Reinvention is a choice, not a circumstance. It is the deliberate decision to step out of who you have been and step into who you are capable of becoming. It's the courage to acknowledge that your past is not a prediction of your future, and that change is not something that happens to you, but something that happens because of you. Reinvention begins the moment you decide you are done living on autopilot and ready to take ownership of your direction, your habits, and your identity. It is not triggered by luck or external approval. It is triggered by a moment of clarity when you finally recognize that staying the same costs more than evolving. Reinvention requires you to confront the truths you've been avoiding, the patterns you've been repeating, and the limits you've been tolerating. It forces you to ask yourself hard questions about what you want, who you want to be, and what you're no longer willing to accept as your reality. It is not a comfortable process, because the version of you that wants to grow must challenge the version of you that wants to stay safe. That internal conflict is where the first spark of change is born. Reinvention is not something that the world grants you. It's something you grant yourself by choosing to rise above excuses. You don't need a perfect environment, ideal timing, or a dramatic life event to become someone new. You only need to decide that you're done letting circumstances dictate your identity. When you choose reinvention, you are declaring that you are greater than the situations you've survived, greater than the limitations others placed on you, and greater than the beliefs that once held you back. Reinvention is choosing to break free from the familiar patterns that kept you predictable but unfulfilled. It's the conscious act of stepping into discomfort, because you know growth cannot happen inside the boundaries of your old life. You start seeing challenges as invitations to evolve instead of signs to retreat. You stop waiting for permission to change and start creating the environment that nurtures your transformation. Reinvention is the decision to rewrite the script you've been living by, one thought, one action, and one belief at a time. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about uncovering the potential you buried under self-doubt and distractions. You begin to choose habits that align with your future rather than habits that comfort your past. You begin to speak to yourself with intention rather than criticism. Reinvention is choosing discipline over comfort, clarity over confusion, and progress over perfection. It's recognizing that slow improvement is still improvement, and that every intentional step forward reshapes the path beneath your feet. You stop measuring your worth by how quickly results appear and start valuing the person you're becoming in the process. You learn that transformation is built on consistency, not shortcuts. Reinvention is the moment you decide to stop allowing your environment to influence your mindset and start allowing your mindset to influence your environment. You stop being a product of your surroundings and start becoming a creator of your circumstances. You no longer adapt to the expectations of others, but rise to the standards you set for yourself. You shift from reacting to life to directing it. Reinvention is accepting that certain relationships, routines, and versions of yourself cannot go with you into your next level. It's understanding that letting go is not a loss, but a strategic decision that opens space for your expansion. You begin to release whatever slows your growth, whether it's an old belief, a limiting habit, or a comfort zone disguised as a lifestyle. You start protecting your energy like the valuable asset it is. Reinvention is choosing to believe that your future deserves a stronger, wiser, more focused version of you. You begin to craft your identity around your goals instead of your fears. You shift your internal dialogue from "I hope I can" to "I am becoming the person who will." You recognize that transformation doesn't happen in a single day, but it does begin with a single choice. Reinvention is the commitment to becoming someone new, not because life forced you to change, but because you decided you deserve more than the life you settled for. It is the powerful realization that you don't need a permission slip from the world to evolve. The only approval you need is your own willingness to choose growth over stagnation, courage over complacency, and purpose over passivity. Make yourself the priority means recognizing that your life, your time, and your energy are not optional resources for others to drain, but essential foundations for your own growth. It requires understanding that you can't pour into anyone else when you're running on empty, and you cannot build a powerful future when you treat your own needs as secondary. Making yourself the priority is not selfishness, it is self-respect. It is the decision to value your well-being, your goals, and your inner peace enough to stop apologizing for choosing yourself. Make yourself the priority means setting boundaries that protect your mental and emotional space. It is learning to say no without feeling guilty and learning to say yes only when it aligns with your values and your direction. When you make yourself the priority, you stop letting people manipulate your availability or drain your capacity. You begin to understand that your peace is worth more than their approval, and your clarity is worth more than temporary acceptance. Make yourself the priority means giving yourself the same compassion, patience, and encouragement you give to everyone else. Too often, you become the caretaker of everyone's expectations while neglecting your own dreams. You support others while abandoning your own potential. Prioritizing yourself is the conscious shift from self-neglect to self-nurturing, from self-sacrifice to self-investment. You begin treating your goals like commitments instead of optional wishes. Make yourself the priority requires you to take control of your time. You stop allowing distractions to hijack your day and stop letting procrastination steal your opportunities. You begin to schedule your growth the same way you schedule responsibilities. You realize that every minute spent on something that doesn't elevate you is a minute stolen from your future. Your time becomes non-negotiable and you protect it with intention. Make yourself the priority means investing in your mind and upgrading your beliefs. It involves reading, learning, reflecting, and challenging the narratives that have been holding you back. You begin to understand that the most important conversations you ever have are the ones you have with yourself. When you grow mentally, everything around you begins to shift because your inner world becomes strong enough to direct your outer world. Make yourself the priority means listening to your body and honoring its needs. You stop treating rest as laziness and start treating it as fuel. You understand that burnout is not a badge of honor, but a sign of neglect. You begin making decisions that support your health rather than sabotage it. You recognize that you cannot build a powerful life in a weakened body, so you treat your physical well-being as a sacred obligation. Make yourself the priority requires you to remove yourself from environments that diminish your value. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable and stop tolerating relationships that drain your confidence. You begin to understand that not everyone deserves access to you, and the more you grow, the more selective you must become. Protecting your energy becomes as important as pursuing your goals because the right environment fuels your elevation. Make yourself the priority means taking your dreams seriously enough to pursue them even when no one else understands them. You stop waiting for support and start supporting yourself. You stop needing validation and start trusting your own vision. Prioritizing yourself is the shift from hoping life gets better to actively building a life that aligns with your purpose. It is the moment you decide that your dreams deserve more loyalty from you than your fears do. Make yourself the priority requires you to stop living for external applause and start living for internal alignment. You begin to make decisions that honor your values rather than decisions that satisfy social pressure. You stop chasing what looks good and start choosing what feels right. You realize that fulfillment comes not from impressing others, but from respecting yourself enough to follow your own path. Make yourself the priority means becoming the guardian of your potential. It is the daily choice to place your growth at the center of your life instead of the edges. It is the willingness to give yourself attention, discipline, and care without waiting for someone else to offer it. When you prioritize yourself, you transform your identity from someone who survives the demands of life to someone who directs the purpose of their life. And everything shifts because your life finally begins to reflect your worth. Your mindset determines your trajectory because everything you pursue, everything you accept, and everything you believe you're capable of begins in your thoughts. The direction of your life does not start with circumstances. It starts with the way you interpret those circumstances. When your mindset is rooted in possibility, challenges become stepping stones. When your mindset is shaped by limitation, even opportunities become obstacles. The thoughts you entertain today quietly shape the reality you walk into tomorrow. Your mindset determines your trajectory because it influences the standards you set for yourself. When you think small, you settle for less, tolerate mediocrity, and convince yourself that good enough is acceptable. But when your mindset is built on growth, you raise your standards and stop accepting half effort or half potential from yourself. You begin to see life not as something that happens to you, but as something you actively design. Your standards rise, your expectations shift, and your trajectory elevates accordingly. Your mindset determines your trajectory because it affects your resilience. Life will test you with setbacks, delays, and disappointments, but what determines whether you rise or collapse is the story you tell yourself about those moments. A strong mindset sees failure as data, not defeat. It sees delay as preparation, not punishment. It sees difficulty as a sign that you are being stretched into a stronger version of yourself. With that mindset, no obstacle becomes permanent and no setback becomes the end of your story. Your mindset determines your trajectory because it shapes your habits. The actions you repeat daily are reflections of the beliefs you hold internally. If you believe you are capable, you act consistently. If you believe you are inadequate, you procrastinate, avoid challenges, and retreat into comfort. Your habits are mirrors showing you exactly what your mindset truly is. Change your thoughts and your habits follow. And once your habits shift, the direction of your life shifts with them. Your mindset determines your trajectory because it influences the way you handle uncertainty. When your thoughts are anchored in fear, uncertainty becomes a reason to freeze, delay, or shrink. But when your mindset is anchored in faith and clarity, uncertainty becomes an open door. You begin to explore, experiment, and take bold steps toward your future. You understand that certainty is not a prerequisite for progress, and that courage grows only when you walk through what you cannot predict. Your mindset determines your trajectory because it shapes your identity. You will never outperform the identity you hold about yourself. If you see yourself as someone limited, overlooked, or incapable, your actions will reflect that belief. But if you see yourself as someone capable of growth, worthy of success, and deserving of opportunity, your behavior aligns with that identity. You begin to speak differently, act differently, and carry yourself differently because your inner narrative supports your evolution. Your mindset determines your trajectory because it affects the relationships you choose and tolerate. When your mindset is weak, you allow people to drain you, distract you, and pull you backward. You stay in environments that diminish your potential because you haven't yet recognized your value. But when your mindset is strong, you gravitate toward people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you higher. You begin to understand that your circle shapes your future, and you choose connections that elevate your trajectory rather than sabotage it. Your mindset determines your trajectory because it guides the risks you're willing to take. People with a limited mindset fear failure and remain trapped in comfort zones that offer safety but no growth. People with an expanded mindset understand that risk is a requirement for elevation. They choose action over hesitation because they know growth is on the other side of discomfort. Their willingness to take strategic risks is what separates them from those who stay stuck in predictable routines. Your mindset determines your trajectory because it determines how you interpret opportunities. Two people can see the same chance. One sees possibility, the other sees danger. One sees an open door, the other sees a trap. The difference is not the opportunity itself, it is the mindset looking at it. When your thoughts are aligned with abundance, you recognize opportunities that others overlook. You move forward with confidence instead of letting fear talk you out of your future. Your mindset determines your trajectory because your life will always rise or fall to the level of your thoughts. Everything you are becoming, everything you are building, and everything you are moving toward begins with what you believe is possible for you. When you shift your mindset, you shift your entire direction. When you strengthen your thoughts, you strengthen your future. Your mindset is the engine pulling your life forward, and the moment you elevate it, your entire trajectory begins to transform. Your life is a business because everything you do either adds value, reduces value, or keeps you stuck exactly where you are. Just like a business must track its progress, manage its resources, and make intentional decisions, your life demands the same level of attention. When you start treating your choices like investments instead of impulses, you begin to see how small decisions shape long-term outcomes. Every day becomes an opportunity to either grow your life's value or diminish it through neglect. Your life is a business because your time is your most valuable currency. You cannot expand it, but you can waste it or invest it. In a successful business, every hour matters, every task is purposeful, and every moment is directed toward a bigger vision. But when you use your time casually, without intention, you sabotage your own progress. When you begin to treat your minutes with respect, you start aligning your actions with the future you want rather than the comfort you settle for. Your life is a business because your habits are your daily operations. A company with weak systems cannot sustain success, and the same is true for a person whose habits do not support their goals. Your routines determine your output, your discipline determines your momentum, and your consistency determines your results. If your habits are chaotic, your life becomes chaotic. When your habits are aligned, your progress becomes predictable instead of accidental. Your life is a business because your mindset is the leadership that determines the direction of everything else. A business with an unfocused leader collapses under pressure, and a person with an unfocused mind does the same. The beliefs you hold are the strategies you follow, and the thoughts you choose become the plans you execute. When your mindset is strong, your leadership is strong, and your decisions reflect clarity instead of confusion. Your life is a business because your relationships act like partnerships. Some partnerships elevate your mission, while others drain your resources and slow your momentum. The people you allow into your life either expand your potential or limit it. When you evaluate your circle, the same way a business evaluates its alliances, you stop tolerating relationships that cost you more than they contribute. You begin to understand that protecting your environment is protecting your growth. Your life is a business because your goals function like your vision statement. Without clear goals, you drift. Without direction, you stall. A business thrives when it knows exactly where it's going, and so do you. When you set clear intentions, you create a roadmap for your actions. Your decisions become easier. Your distractions become fewer, and your priorities become sharper because you know exactly what you're working toward. Your life is a business because your emotions act like market fluctuations, ever-changing, sometimes intense, and often unpredictable. A successful business does not make decisions based on momentary emotions, and neither should you. When you allow your feelings to control your actions, you lose stability. But when you learn to manage your emotions with self-awareness and discipline, you create consistency in your life's performance. Emotional intelligence becomes a form of profit. Your life is a business because your skills are your assets. The more you develop them, the more valuable you become. A company invests in training, innovation, and improvement because stagnation leads to failure. In the same way, you must continually upgrade your abilities, expand your knowledge, and sharpen your strengths. When you invest in yourself, you increase the return you get from your time, effort, and creativity. Your life is a business because your decisions determine your financial and personal return. Every decision you make has a cost and a payoff. Some decisions yield growth, while others produce setbacks. Successful businesses make choices based on long-term vision, not short-term comfort. When you make decisions based on your future self rather than your present feelings, you place your life on a path that compounds in the direction you desire. Your life is a business because it requires accountability, structure, and intention to thrive. Without accountability, performance declines. Without structure, chaos takes over. Without intention, momentum disappears. When you treat your life with the seriousness and strategy of a business, you stop drifting through your days and start directing them. You begin to operate with purpose, discipline, and clarity because you finally recognize that your life's success depends on the systems you build, the mindset you adopt, and the choices you make every single day. No one is coming to save you means the responsibility for your growth, your healing, and your success rests in your own hands. It is the realization that waiting for someone else to fix your life is the fastest way to remain stuck. The moment you accept that no rescue team is on the way is the moment you finally understand that you are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever gave yourself credit for. That truth is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to free you from dependence on anything outside of your own effort. No one is coming to save you means you can no longer afford to blame your past for your present. You cannot rewrite what happened, but you can rewrite how you respond to it. When you stop looking for a hero and start becoming one, you reclaim your power. Every setback becomes a lesson, every wound becomes wisdom, and every disappointment becomes raw material for your transformation. You begin to see that the strength you were searching for was inside you all along. No one is coming to save you. Means you must let go of the fantasy that the right person, the right moment, or the right opportunity will magically appear to change your life. You stop waiting for signs and start creating direction. You stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. You stop waiting for confidence and start acting despite the fear. Your progress begins the instant you decide that you are done waiting. No one is coming to save you means you must take ownership of your choices. You cannot control every circumstance, but you can control how you respond, how you adjust, and how you move forward. Victimhood drains your power. Responsibility restores it. When you take responsibility, you stop being controlled by what you can't change and start building what you can. You begin to understand that ownership is not a burden, but the foundation of freedom. No one is coming to save you is the invitation to stop negotiating with your excuses. Excuses feel comfortable because they protect you from trying, failing, and growing, but they also protect you from achieving, evolving, and becoming. When you stop relying on excuses, you break the cycle of stagnation. You start seeing the truth. Your next level is not waiting for perfect timing. It is waiting for your decision to rise. No one is coming to save you means you must outgrow the mindset that someone else owes you support. People may help you, guide you, or encourage you, but they cannot carry you. They cannot create your habits, think your thoughts, or fight your battles. Growth is personal work, and no one can do it on your behalf. When you stop expecting others to do your heavy lifting, you discover how powerful you truly are. No one is coming to save you means you must become the leader of your own life. You set the vision, you choose the direction, and you build the momentum. Leadership does not mean you never fall. It means you refuse to stay down. It means lifting yourself up when no one is watching, pushing yourself forward when no one is applauding, and trusting yourself when doubt tries to take the wheel. You become your own example of what is possible. No one is coming to save you means you must stop comparing your journey to others. It is easy to envy the progress of people who seem ahead, but their path is not your blueprint. Your growth will not look like theirs. Your breakthroughs will not come at the same time. When you stop depending on comparison to validate your worth, you begin to understand that your only competition is the person you were yesterday. No one is coming to save you means you must build the habits that your future requires. Success is not delivered, it is constructed through discipline, consistency, and intentional action. You cannot wish your way into transformation, you must work your way into it. Every step you take becomes a vote for the person you want to become. Every day you choose effort over excuses, you shift your direction. No one is coming to save you is the empowering truth that turns your life around. It pushes you to stop waiting. Stop relying. Stop hoping for someone else to carry the weight you were built to lift. You realize that your strength is earned, your growth is chosen, and your future is created by the decisions you make when no one else is around. You finally see that the person you have been waiting for is the person you are becoming now. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because drifting through your days is no longer an option. This is the moment to stop letting circumstances dictate your direction and start choosing the path you want to walk. When you design your life, you operate with intention rather than impulse. You shift from surviving to creating, from responding to shaping. You step into the year with clarity instead of confusion because you know that your life is too valuable to be built on randomness. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because reacting keeps you stuck in cycles you never chose. When you only respond to problems, deadlines, and expectations, your life becomes a series of emergencies instead of a well-planned journey. But when you design your life, you anticipate what you need to build, what you need to avoid, and what you need to commit to. You prepare your mindset, your habits, and your environment for the future you want, instead of trying to clean up the consequences of unplanned living. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because you deserve a life that reflects your vision, not your fears. Reacting comes from fear. Fear of what might happen, fear of disappointing others, fear of failing. Designing comes from faith. Faith in your potential, faith in your goals, and faith that you can build something better than what you've experienced. When you choose to design, you trust your ability to create a future that honors your purpose instead of repeating the patterns of your past. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because clarity gives you power. When you know what you want, decision-making becomes easier. You stop second-guessing yourself, and you stop allowing distractions to pull you away from your goals. You stop chasing everything because you finally know what truly matters. Clarity creates discipline, and discipline creates momentum. The more clearly you design your direction, the faster your life begins to align with it. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because your habits must match your vision. A life by design requires intentional routines that support your future instead of feeding your comfort. You start choosing habits that strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, and elevate your identity. You recognize that every habit either pushes you forward or pulls you backward. When you design your habits, you take control of your growth instead of leaving it to chance. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because you must decide who you are becoming. Identity is not something you wait for, it is something you create. When you react, you become a reflection of your environment. When you design, you become a reflection of your values, your purpose, and your intention. You begin to shape your personality, your confidence, and your discipline around the future you want to experience rather than the past you want to escape. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it because you cannot afford to keep wasting time on things that do not build your future. Distraction, drama, and doubt are luxuries you can no longer entertain. You start treating your time like the currency it is, investing it into things that elevate you rather than drain you. When you design your life, you become selective with your energy, your focus, and the people you allow into your space. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because you need a strategy that matches the size of your goals. Dreams without structure collapse under pressure. But when you design a plan step by step, day by day, you turn your goals into achievable outcomes. You give yourself a roadmap instead of wandering through the year hoping something changes on its own. With a plan, you become unstoppable because your effort becomes organized, directed, and intentional. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because the future belongs to those who take ownership. When you decide to be the architect of your life, you stop waiting for opportunity and start creating it. You stop hoping for better days and start building them. You stop leaning on luck and start relying on discipline. Ownership transforms the way you think, act, and live, because you know that the quality of your life depends on the quality of your decisions. 2025 is the year to design your life, not react to it, because you are finally ready to step into the version of yourself that the world has not yet seen. This is your year to build, to grow, to redefine, to elevate. This is the year you stop flowing with circumstances and start flowing with purpose. This is the year you choose intention over impulse and creation over reaction, because your future is too important to leave in the hands of anything other than your own deliberate design.